Before I started building for the Kona Ironman, I really needed to know what my baseline was, where I was starting from. And if you've watched a few of the videos before, at the beginning I got some blood tests and made sure that I was healthy and I didn't have any health deficits before I started my journey. But in March, I took that one step further and I arranged for 3 tests to be done. The first was a fitness assessment, the second was a VO2 max, and the third was a lactic threshold test. I really wanted to know where I was starting from. Not where I hoped I was, not what I was guessing, and certainly not what my Garmin watch was telling me. I really wanted data. So it's Thursday and I am heading to Connect Healthcare to do a running test, a VO2 max test and a lactic threshold test. It's going to be 3 hours. Wish me luck. Assessment and the training really matters because it's important to have a big goal, but it's also important to understand where I'm at. And for me, I wanted to make sure that if there were any areas that were really challenging or areas that I needed to work on, I need to know now, right at the beginning of the journey, so I can really get that foundation work done properly. So the testing with Connect Healthcare was fantastic. It took me through a real full functional fitness test. It showed me where my mobility, my strengths were, and areas that I might need improvement on. It also gave me the correct testing for VO2 max and then obviously my lactic threshold, where that threshold is, which makes me train smarter, not harder, especially in those zones that are really important when you're doing this load for something like the Ironman. So the first part of the test with Bradley from Connect Healthcare was the fitness test, really looking at what my body could do. The test showed me how well my body moved, how my body absorbs load, and then also how well my body runs. We looked at mobility, strength, balance, single leg control, landing mechanics, and overall how my body works with load. These are the little things that can either help you or potentially create injuries and issues further down the track. The results were actually really useful. A lot was strong. My calf raises, bridges, sit to stand strength, and overall strength symmetry were pretty solid. But there were some clear areas that I needed to work on, and some of that was from an injury about 7 years ago with my right ankle. So my right ankle had some mobility issues, my left hip has some stability stuff I need to work on, and balance on the left side. My landing force was a little bit asymmetric, so that's something I'm going to work on as well. Now, none of this means I'm broken, it just means I've got some really great information right now. And the information is power because now my strength work has purpose. Once we had a look at how my body moves, it was on to the big test, the VO2 max test, and to see really what the engine is, how the engine is working, and what capacity I have. This was something that I was really excited about because my Garmin says that I've got a really good VO2 max anyway, but I wanted to see how close was my Garmin results to at max test and to see really what the engine is, how the engine is working, and just really testing my VO2 max on a treadmill and seeing what the testing really says. VO2 max measures how well your body takes in oxygen, transports it, and then uses it while you're working hard. It's basically an engine test. My VO2 max came back at 51.3 millimeters per kilogram per minute on the VO2 max report, with a maximum heart rate of 161 beats per minute, and that placed me in the 99th percentile for my age and sex. So that told me something really important. My aerobic energy is already a strength, but having a good engine doesn't automatically mean you're ready for an Ironman. It means I have something strong to build on. And then the final part was the lactic testing. And this was probably the most useful piece for how I'm actually going to train week by week, and especially really useful for my coach, Maddie White. Lactate threshold tells you when your body starts producing lactate faster than it can clear it. In simple terms, it helps show what pace I can hold comfortably and what pace becomes threshold and where the wheels start to come off. My results showed LT1 at 10.8 kilometers per hour and LT2 at 13.5 kilometers per hour. That then gave me a proper training zone, not guesswork, not vibes, not just whatever my watch says. Actual zones based on my body. The biggest takeaway from this is I don't need to train harder. I just need to continue training smarter. I just need to train hard when those sessions matter the most. The other big takeaway, rest is important. When I rest, that's when all the work actually comes together and I really start to see the results. So I'm going to put it all back into practice, throw these results to Maddie, my coach, and keep going with the program. I will be doing my lactic threshold testing a little bit later in the year. It was such a great test and it is something that I really want to improve on, especially if I want to get faster in my run and my ride. The lactic threshold and my ability to clear that is really, really important. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Look forward to seeing you soon.